All right, I saw this video come out and I wanted to react to it because I was like, I still haven't watched it yet. I just saw the thumbnail and title and I was like, I think it's worth reacting to. This video was very interesting and it has to do, this channel is about stocks, entrepreneurship, business. This one was interesting. Let me show you the thumbnail real quick. Why so many CEOs are from India. This was 4 months ago. It's a 6-minute video, but I still I never saw it. And I was like, I'm interested. I have a startup myself. I'm the CEO of my startup. It's not as successful as Google, Twitter, IBM, Microsoft, or Adobe, but I still kind of want to see. So we're going to react to this video. Why so many CEOs are from India. Let's see what the take is, and I'll give my raw reaction to it. So let's just plug that up. All right, let's begin.
Google, Adobe, Microsoft, and IBM are all run by people who grew up in India. The latest to join these ranks is Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal, who took over from Jack Dorsey. People originally from India make up 1% of the total US population, yet about 6% of Silicon Valley's workforce. So why are there so many tech CEOs who hail from India? When Satya Nadella took over as CEO of Microsoft in 2014, the company was in bad shape. Bill Gates was reportedly an angry and difficult boss. His successor, Steve Ballmer, apparently wasn't any better. Microsoft was also a dinosaur. It had failed to innovate. For example, it lost the smartphone battle to Apple. Along comes Nadella, an engineer who rose through the ranks of Microsoft to become the CEO. Nadella changed the culture of the company. He made it clear anger and yelling weren't welcome. He also sought to make Microsoft relevant.
We now need to make Microsoft thrive in a mobile-first and a cloud-first world.
Under his direction, Microsoft moved its software to non-Windows devices.
This is actually very important. Satya Nadella, Microsoft was rough in 2014. In 2016, they acquired LinkedIn. But in 2014, 2015, they were not that innovative of a company. Google was exploding. Apple was exploding, obviously, with more additions of the iPhone and iPad. And software was something that Google and Apple started to dominate. Microsoft obviously has some of the best products in the world in terms of software, but they weren't dominant. They failed at the Windows Phone. I mean, that didn't work. So 2014, it was in a rough spot, and Satya Nadella really came and started to turn things around.
And expanded its cloud business, Azure. That innovative spirit of problem solving was bred in his native country. India is home to nearly 1.4 billion people. It's the second most populous country on Earth after China, and is expected to overtake China as the most populous country in a few years. Although India has made remarkable progress, poverty is still a major challenge. Nearly a quarter of the population lives below the poverty line of $1.90 a day, according to the United Nations Development Program. They face corruption, poor infrastructure, and limited opportunities. So they learn to be resilient, adapt, and overcome endless obstacles. This leads them to be problem solvers, a key asset in any corporation. Sundar Pichai has had to solve many problems after taking over at the helm of Google in 2015. At a time when big tech is being scrutinized over the power they hold, he became the archetype of a kinder, calmer, gentler leader in tech. Pichai earned an engineering degree at one of the Indian Institutes of Technology. The IITs are kind of like the Indian equivalent of MIT.
That's true. IIT, bro, if you go to IIT, if you're from India, you're well respected. I know that. It's like you went to Harvard or something. Sundar Pichai is one of those CEOs that he makes you feel welcome when he talks. He's very comforting, very relaxed. It's not like this abrasive type of style of just I'm going to punch through a wall and get through it. He's very we're building something big and unique, but he's still cutthroat. But it's just it feels nice to just listen to him and hear how he speaks.
With an even lower acceptance rate, reportedly of 1 or 2%. After Pichai graduated, his ticket to America came in the form of a master's at Stanford. Going to a top grad school in the States is how many Indians land up in the land of opportunity. They appear to follow this well-trodden path. They did their undergrad at a great school in India, got a master's in the US, where they studied STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. More than half of all international students in America pursued a STEM degree in the past academic year. American immigration favors people with specialized skills. After Pichai graduated, he went on an H-1B visa to work at consulting firm McKinsey. The H-1B allows American companies to employ foreign workers, many of whom are in IT-related fields. The US government awarded nearly 75% of these visas to Indians in 2020. In comparison, China trailed far behind in second, at 12%. The fact that so many Indians can speak English is a tremendous advantage in the West, and they're comfortable with American business culture. possibly because it mirrors the thriving IT industry back home in Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad. They're also more likely to want to work overseas. 80% of Chinese international students return to China after graduating, according to China's Ministry of Education. Chinese entrepreneurs prefer starting their own companies at home. Alibaba is known as the Amazon of China. Tencent owns the messaging app WeChat, used by
That's true. A bunch of Indian entrepreneurs, they just come to America to start the company. They're like, screw India. We're like, it's too hard in India. Let's come to America. Well, America has a lot of opportunity. That's the one thing about America has a lot of opportunity.
1.2 billion people. Huawei is one of the giants of the tech industry. China's transition from a manufacturing hub to a tech hotbed has largely been driven by government policy. In the late 70s, Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping encouraged foreign businesses to set up offices in China, which fostered a startup environment. On the other hand, India has a problem of too much talent leaving the country for good. It has the highest number of migrants living abroad, at 17.5 million, according to the UN. And more Indians gave up their passports to become naturalized American citizens in 2020 than the Chinese, continuing the trend from past years. However, the brain drain from India may be starting to recede. An increasing number of homegrown Indian startups are becoming unicorns, meaning the companies are valued at $1 billion or more.
India had about 100 unicorns last year, which was insane, at $1 billion. Zomato is like their Uber Eats. Flipkart is like their Walmart. It actually got acquired by Walmart for, I think, $16 billion. So talent is starting in India, and they're starting to start things up.
The data platform Traction tells Newsthink India created 47 unicorns in 2021, a significant
So it's not 100, it's 47. But man, that's a lot.
jump from the 17 in 2020, and even less in years past. The tech ecosystem is being bolstered by powerful investment firms such as SoftBank that have been pumping money into Indian startups. But in order to entice more people to remain in their native country, salaries will have to catch up with those in the West. The average American tech worker earns around $98,000 a year, according to the online recruiting platform Dice. Tech salaries in India vary greatly, but the job site Indeed pegs the median salary at $20,000 US, going up to as much as $33,000, which makes them some of the top earners in their country, but still, far less than what they'd make in the States. As salaries grow along with India's startup boom, this could have implications for the number of exceptional individuals desiring to move abroad. The one thing that the CEOs of tech giants have in common is their strong background in engineering. If you wanted to improve your STEM skills, my sponsor Brilliant can help you achieve your goals. Brilliant right into their popular if you're stuck on the custom.
Okay, so that's the end of the movie. Then we got a sponsor. So yeah, it's really interesting just to learn about why Indian CEOs are so prominent. I think there's a couple of points in the video that I think make sense. Number one is this idea of immigration and coming to the United States, the HB1 visa actually allowing people to come into the United States and have an opportunity. That's incredibly important. Number two is people studying STEM and technical things. I'm not the most technical person. I'm more of a communications person, storyteller. I have a little bit of a different skill set. So my co-founder in my startup is very technical, and he's also an immigrant as well. But his analysis of tech is important. I mean, he understands technology at a very, very sophisticated, deep level, and you need someone to do that can build something, right? Now, the CEO, I don't think always has to be technical. Steve Jobs was never technical. Like a CEO doesn't have to literally write code. A CEO needs to be able to get people's attention and command authority. But having a technical expertise as CEO allows you to become an engineer, which is what a lot of these Indian CEOs were before. And then as a result of that, they are able to keep going forward in the future. And that's incredibly important, I think, at the end of the day. So if that allows more Indian entrepreneurs to come to America because they have the technical skills and they have the ability to showcase those technical skills within an organization, and they can work their way up as a CEO, then that's important, right? That allows them to actually replace some of the other CEOs or start their own companies, right? You either have two routes. You start your own company, become a CEO, or you join a behemoth like Microsoft, Google, and you eventually become the CEO. Now, what would be crazy is if Apple gets an Indian CEO. If we get a CEO from India, from Apple, that would be pretty interesting. I don't know if that would ever happen, but that would be that would be interesting to see what happens. So I think that's sort of the way that the Indian CEO tech field has unfolded. I was watching another video the other day that we can probably talk about on another video on a different day about why India is having the startup boom. As you saw in the video, they have 47 unicorns. And part of the reason is that the government is encouraging more innovation and more entrepreneurship because they're seeing Satya Nadella and Parag Agrawal and Sundar Pichai lead these massive companies in the United States, but there's no Google in India, right? Like there are some Indian tech companies, but there's not like, there's not the Apple, there's not the Facebook, there's not that like crazy company, $1 trillion company that changes the entire world and is born in India. And I think that's what the government wants, right? And in order to inspire those kids to go start that big company that exists in that part of the world, you've got to allow a culture of innovation. And India was a socialist country for the 70s and 80s, and they slowly got out of it in the 90s. You need to encourage that innovation, and you also need to encourage staying in your hometown and not just going to America and joining a tech company or starting a tech company in America. Because if we know Indians are good at tech, then they should stay in India and start that type of big company as well. So interesting. I just wanted to do that analysis and kind of see. Let me know what you guys think about these reaction videos. I know this wasn't it wasn't the most meat-filled substance in this video. I'm kind of trying it out and seeing what it feels like, but that thumbnail caught my attention on YouTube, and I wanted to give it a little bit of reaction and kind of see what's going on. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Indian tech CEOs. I'm looking forward to reading the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.